So, hello friends, welcome back in this session and in the continuation of Python tutorial, or you can say Python lectures. This lecture is all about class concept in Python. So that would be basically a basic lecture for the class concept, how we can create a class in the Python and how we will access the elements, or you can say members of a class using an object in Python. So in Python, we have a keyword that is class, and using this keyword, we can create a class. So we have to put a name for the class, like we are just putting sing. This is the name of my class, sing. And just put a colon sign as per the block creation in Python. This is the syntax of the block creation in Python. You could know about that. And hit enter, then you have to create the functions. Then, as per the requirement, you can create a lot of functions, like we are making just a function that is add. This is all about two parameterized functions. We have two parameters. Then C is equal A plus B, and just you can return it, return C. So left, again, we are creating a function that is sub, and it will subtract two values, like C is equal A minus B, and then we can return C. So these two functions are basically addition and subtraction within the class. And how we can access both of them? Just create an object, call that class as a function. This is basically constructor. And in next lecture, we'll discuss about the constructor also. But right now you can understand that this is the name of the constructor, and using this constructor, it can invoke all the class functions or members. So we are just invoking all the members, and now we can call ob.add, and we can pass the values. And as per the definition, this function will return some value. So we can store it into a variable, then just you can print res, that would be the addition of both number. Just you can run the program. And oh, sorry, one more thing. In class member functions, you have to mention a keyword that is self. This is mandatory for all the functions. Just because of self is, you can say, object-oriented keyword that defines or that indicates about the object. So it is object-oriented keyword. You have to mention this keyword with all the functions as a first parameter. Just call it and run this program again and see. You will get your result. So this is the way to create a simple class in the Python, you can say. And class is sometimes, definition wise, you can say, it is basically the collection of similar type of objects. But there are many intuitions about the class. To make your own intuitions, you have to practice it again and again. In technical terms, you can say class is just a user-defined data type. User-defined data type. Okay, and according to some another function definitions, you can say class is a guidelines for the objects. Okay, just because of first we can define all the functions within the class, and after using a single object, we can call, we can access, we can fetch any member of the class. So this class is basically guiding all the objects that we are making after the creation of the class. So this is our object of sing class, and sing class is guiding that object. You can say this object has all the properties and behavior of that class. Or you can say this class is defining all the properties and behaviors for that object. We can make any number of objects using that class, like ob1 is equal sing, and again we can pass different numbers. ob3 is equal sing, and again we can pass different numbers. We can pass again and again variables, like we can call ob1.add, and you can pass another numbers as a parameter, as an argument. So now we have three different objects. We can make any number of objects using this class. And this class is basically guidelines for all the objects. That's why we are saying, that's why I'm saying that class is just a guideline for the objects. And just because of we can make any number of objects using a class, you can say class is also a object factory. So this is also an intuition about the class. Class is also known as object factory, just because of we can make any number of objects using a single class. So this is also called object factory. And every object has properties and behavior of that class. That means objects are inheriting all the properties and behavior of the class. So that's why we are saying a class is just a guideline for the object. Or you can say class is also, you can say classes the unit that contains the properties and behavior of the objects. So these are some lines, some definitions you can say to build your own intuitions about the class. But in technical terms, you can say class is just a collection of functions and some objects and some member variables, you can say. So technically, you can say class is just a collection of members. What type of members? Member variables, member functions, and some other things. You can say this is the technical intuitions about the class. See, using class keyword, we are making a class and we are putting some functions, some methods within that. So if we are making a function within the class, then you can say this is method. What is the difference between method and function? Method is just a part of class and function is just an independent function or method, you can say. Both have same definition wise, you can say. But method is just a part of class and function is not the part of any class or any object. So function is independent, but method is not independent. Method is a type of function that is basically part of any object or any class. So that's why I'm saying in this class, we have made two methods. These functions are basically called methods just because of both of the functions are the part of that class. So this is basically all about you can say class and object. Object is a single variable and we can make multiple variables using that class. So technically you can say object is just a variable of user defined class, and for the intuitions you can say object is just a thing which has its own properties and behavior. So you can say technically object is a variable that inherits all the things of the class, and if you're talking about some non-technical intuitions about the object, then object is everything which has its own properties and behavior, and that is you can say different from others. So this is called object and this is class. And in class concepts, we have multiple types of concepts within the class. See, if you're talking about class and objects, then class is a concept. Object is another concept that is the part of class. And encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and some other concepts are there within the class. So these all concepts are called OOPS concept. That means object oriented programming system. See, OOPS basically are some advanced concepts to make a language high level. So if any language is integrating, or you can say containing these type of concepts of programming, then you can say this language is basically a high level language. So OOPs are basically all about class and object concept. So some features of OOPs we are already using within the Python. Previously, I will talk about that in next lecture. Some features are in a string, in list, in tuple, in dictionary. We are already using some class and object concepts. So just like you are calling just a function, just take an example. Just I'm taking a list and putting some values within that. Now, if you are using max and a, this is the predefined function. But if you want to append a value within this list, then you have to write a.append and just write some value. So this append function is basically the part of this a class. And a is not a class, you can say a is just an object. So in a library of the Python, you have list type of class in this way. That is predefined basically. And within that, we have append function. Okay. And again, we have the insert function and many other functions are there. So all these type of functions we were using at the time of the list. So this is the concept of object and class. We are using already, but we don't know about that. Now we will try to understand all the things related to class and objects. That is basically the part of advanced programming language, or you can say object-oriented programming language, or you can say high-level programming language. So yes, guys, that was all about class and objects, and that's all for this lecture. Thanks for watching.